welcome to my channel. So today we are going to do a get ready with me, kind of giving life updates, talking about my uploading schedule, and then also telling you about, I would say, one of the craziest weeks of my life. I've been talking about it. Some of you guys, oh, this is broken. Great. A lot of you guys know the situation. I did DM a couple of you the reason why, because you were worried, because I did say, okay, it's gonna be like that, never mind. I did say that everything was really crazy. I had to do an unexpected last second trip to Spain, but everybody's safe, everything is good, nothing to worry about. Honestly, all very good news that I'm going to be talking about, but also very stressful stuff for me. So first of all, let's talk about what's going on. I'm in Spain. The day that I'm filming this, I think this is going up towards the end of my trip, but the day that I'm filming this is probably about a few days, like 5 days into the trip. Everything's been going great. If you aren't aware of what's been going on, by the way, every product that I'm using, I might not talk about it, but I will have everything linked down below in the description box, but I'll try and hold them up. But if you don't know, I got married 3 years ago to my husband, Jose, and he is from Spain, and we decided to go through an immigration process so that he could become a permanent resident. Some of this might be hard to understand if you don't understand the US immigration system and how it works, but pretty much Jose was here on a student visa, and once you graduate off of your student visa, you gotta go back unless you have a visa. So we got married, we applied, I think it was around January was when everything was submitted of 2021. So the process itself has been about 2.5 years since we submitted the first documents. Well, that's not true. I think we actually started a little bit earlier than that, but it's been like 2.5 to 3 years. It's been that long. So we switched from the student visa to the permanent resident visa, or the green card visa. Now, if you are going through this process, don't do as we do. First of all, make sure you get professional help and apply for the visa along with the green visa that allows you to travel, because you'll be able to travel. Right now it's saying up to 11 months is when you'll get approved for that visa. But when Jose and I had applied, they said that visa would only take like 3, 4, 5 months at most. But I think between COVID and, I don't know, immigration takes a while. It now says it takes 11 months. But anyways, we were so tired of filling out the forms because it is a horrific process. Let me tell you, I do not recommend to marry an immigrant for the paperwork process alone. It is horrible. But by the time we made it through the important one, the green card and the work visa, when it came to the travel, we were naive into how long this would take, and we didn't think Jose would need to travel out of country anyways, because while you are waiting for approval of a green card, you cannot leave the country unless it is approved. So we were like, that's fine, we don't need to go anywhere. 3 years later, right, we're pretty much still waiting. So that was our dum-dum. That's where we made our mistake. But his sister originally got engaged in like December of this past year, and so we were like, oh, we're gonna need to travel. So we did apply for the travel visa, because they don't give exceptions except for like death. So we did contact immigration to be like, hey, we have a wedding, his sister's wedding is coming up, can we go? And pretty much they were like, unless somebody is dying, no, which is messed up. But anyways, so obviously that was really upsetting news to everybody in the family, to Jose. It really is something you don't understand unless you're in the process, but as the American in this, you just carry so much guilt that your partner cannot travel outside the US. And we did apply for the travel visa since our initial request to travel was denied. But the travel visa all of a sudden was backed up, and it was gonna take 11 months instead of like 5 months, because we did see a lawyer about applying for it to see if there's any way around being able to travel to see if we can. And he was like, did you apply for this? It should only take a few weeks. And we're like, we did apply, but we looked online and they said it would take months. And the lawyer was even out of the loop on it, and he took a look and he was like, oh yeah, all you can really do is wait. There's no way that you can leave the country without risking the entire process, because the way it works, if you leave the country in the middle of applying for this process, they can like completely void the whole process. So if Jose had left, he would have been able to leave, but trying to get back into the country, if he did that while his paperwork was still processing, they would have canceled it. So that's a big risk, a huge risk that we were not willing to take. So we had kind of accepted that Jose would not be able to attend the wedding. And accepted is a tough word, because when Jose and I got married, his family could not come to our wedding. It was during COVID and there were travel restrictions, so you could definitely not come in from Spain. And we needed to get married because we needed to start the visa process so that he did not get deported. So I think it was also very sore about that, you know. His family couldn't come to his own wedding, and then he couldn't even go to his sister's wedding. He felt captive in the US. This process was taking years, and he was not allowed to leave, and he's made all these requests, and we've had a tough time with USIS to begin with. Okay, Jose just came barging in. Do you have clean teeth? Got that free dental care in Spain. Clean teeth, how do they feel? Wow, I completely forgot where I was in the story. Anyways, pretty much really depressed about not being able to travel. We've been years into this immigration process. Accepted that could not come to his sister's wedding, but obviously still holding on to hope that the travel visa would be approved at some point. I don't know, by some miracle the green card would be approved. This brings us to Monday, and his sister's wedding is on Saturday. And it was like Monday afternoon, and Jose went to check the mail, and he was like, I'm just checking for the green card or something, any sort of news. And it was just really funny because I was like, nothing's gonna be there, and with our luck, if something does show up, it's going to be like, but you still have to wait. Like, you know, we approved your green card, but you have to wait for us to actually mail it to you. Or it was going to be like the day after the wedding that we were going to get anything. But we've been expecting it, but not really expecting it in time for the wedding. So check the mail, nothing. We do our little jokes about, with our luck, it's gonna come on Saturday or Sunday or the Monday after, ha ha ha. And then on Monday afternoon, I got a really bad headache. I remember just being out for a couple hours, foreshadowing for what was to come, let me tell you, because as soon as I got out of my headache and I was feeling better, my parents called me and they said, we have an envelope from USIS. Now, keep in mind, things were coming to weird addresses from USIS these last couple of months because we applied at our parents' house and we've moved a couple times, and you know, we did fill out the address change, but things have been coming to my parents' house, my lawyer's address. So we were hoping it would come to our address, but I guess it went to our parents' address. And so Jose was at the gym at this point, so I didn't want to disappoint him, you know, so I told my parents to open it while it was just me so that I could be the one to tell him if it was bad news or if it were good news. It was just a piece of paper, there was no card in it, but it said, your green card application has been approved. And I was like, because his sister's wedding is this Saturday, and I was like, oh my god, does this mean we can go? And then we kept reading, and it was like, no, you can't go. We didn't have the card, and it said, we might request to see you for some biometrics, which is like fingerprinting and photos, which Jose had already done previously, or give us 90 days to send out your card. So you cannot travel even though your application had been approved. So I was like, okay, I'll be the one to break the news to Jose then. His green card application was approved on Monday, but we have to wait 90 days to get the card. So then I was doing more research online about our particular case on the Eustace account that we have, since we received the notification on paper, but you can keep up to date on their website on your account. And then the world stopped, you guys, because I was expecting that we couldn't go, but then I saw all it said was, your card was mailed. No details if it was the green card, which I'm assuming it was. No details, no tracking, no nothing as to when it was going to come, and at this point where it was going to come, since the first notice had been sent to my parents' house. So Jose and I spent that entire evening trying to track this green card. And you guys know how these government services are. It is near impossible to get Eustace on the phone. We've called them so many times to try and see if they had any information to confirm that it was the green card, and if it was, where was it sent to, and when it would be able to come, to see if we could buy plane tickets to travel. And so that evening, I think we were able to get an online chat person. We were not lucky enough to get anybody on the phone who could confirm anything for us. And they pretty much said, we don't have a tracking for it. The address on file is my parents' address, so it probably was sent there. So I'm like, okay, do I need to fly to my parents' house and sit by the mailbox and wait for the mailman? Because we were gonna make this happen, you guys. We were. So then that next day on Tuesday, I mean, we were on the computer for hours trying to figure out the situation about the card. So Tuesday, I don't think we heard, no, we did hear something. We chatted with the person again, and they were able to provide us with a tracking number, which at that point I had proposed to Eustace something that we might do. So I asked if my husband flew to Spain and the green card was mailed, but he hadn't received it yet. So I asked if my husband could fly to Spain, and I waited in the US for the green card to come, and then I would then fly to Spain with the green card, and we would travel back together, because then he'd be able to get back into the US. And Eustace said there should not be a problem, like, should be fine. So I proposed that idea to make sure, like, my husband was not going to get stuck in Spain, and that he does in fact have the green card coming. Still could not provide me when it was coming, because even though the tracking number had been made and the tracking number was provided to us, it wasn't actually, you know, sent out to the post office. There was no date. The label was just made, and that was it. But the lady said also it should be fine, but that the green card could probably take up to 2 weeks to actually be mailed. They have, you know, a period so that they don't get in trouble. So 2 weeks, I was like, I mean, if my husband could make it to the wedding, I was totally okay with him going, spending a couple weeks in Spain while I held the fort down and waited for this dang green card. So since we got the okay from Eustace, we also ran the idea by the lawyer, or by our lawyer, who said it also should be fine. Obviously, safer to wait to make sure that the green card actually comes before he flies, but you know, we gotta do what's best for us. So we were playing with fire a little bit, but Jose booked his flight for Wednesday night, so for the next day. So you can probably guess that these flight tickets were expensive, but it's very, very important for a family matter. Wednesday comes, it's the morning before Jose's flight to Spain, and the plan is I'm going to stay at home, get my work done, prepare to fly to Spain when I can, probably go to my parents' house, spend a few days with them while I wait for the green card once we get the tracking. So Wednesday, I think afternoon, tracking finally started, and it said that it was going to be delivered on Thursday. So for the 30th time, I confirmed with Eustace that that was the green card, and they were like, yes. So I was like, plan is a go. I booked a flight to my parents' house. Jose is going to be in Spain, so the plan was now I was going to fly to my parents' house and then fly to Spain once I got the green card, hoping that we could make the wedding. Well, Jose was going to at this point, but hoping that I could make the wedding. So I booked to my parents' house. Yay, very exciting. The green card's supposed to come tomorrow. All was well, plan was working out. If I made it to the wedding, great. If not, it was okay, because we didn't want to book the flight to Spain until I actually have the green card in hand, because they're non-refundable and it's already so expensive to get a last minute flight to Spain, like on the last day. So then Wednesday night, after Jose had already left, I felt like I was chasing this green card across the world. We get a call from our lawyer saying Jose needs to stay because there's a new law where the immigrant needs to be in person to sign for the green card.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Jose was already gone. And remember, like I said, if you leave the country without the green card, the whole process. And I'm sure there are ways around it. Like, my parents were up all night looking for ways around this. We were ready to FaceTime the man, like have Jose FaceTime in. We had documents that Jose could approve for us to sign it. We had all of his personal information to show the mail person that you were gonna give this to us. We were ready to grab and run. I'm just kidding, that's illegal, but man, it was the most stressful, I think 15-16 hours knowing this information that pretty much Jose's green card was at risk because he was not in the US and could not sign for it. So I arrived at my parents' house early Thursday morning. I think I had like a 5 a.m. flight time that I had to get up for. So I'm alone at my parents' house. We are literally sitting by the door at this point waiting for this green card to show up, ready to pull out all that we have up our sleeve to get this green card. And guess what? Finally, 1 to 2 p.m. around that time, the mailman came. He just put it in our mailbox. We just had all of that stress for nothing. So I had the green card. 2 p.m. on a Thursday, booked literally. I think there were 2 flights left on the last possible non-stop flight to Spain to arrive in Spain at 6 a.m. Saturday, the day of his sister's wedding. So all sequence-wise, all went really smooth in terms of Jose flies out, I fly to my parents' house, then we get the green card, and then I take a flight over to Spain, and then we make it in time for the wedding. Sounds smooth, right? No, there were so many roller coasters, so much unknown, a lot that we risked and probably should not have, but at the end, you know, Friday afternoon, hopped on that last very expensive flight to Spain, one of the last 2 seats possible in order for me to make this wedding. Arrived at 6 a.m. The wedding was at 6 p.m. Saturday. I think I ended up arriving at like 8 a.m. on Saturday with like the delays and stuff. Got back around 10 o'clock, slept from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Spanish time. Woke up, and then of course we have the craziest rush of wedding. If you know, I helped his sister get ready, makeup, hair, had to get myself ready, was sweating like crazy. But craziest 24 hours, one of the most stressful weeks of my life to get this green card, to find the information about the green card. Had a bit of a scare, but all went well, and now I'm in Spain, and I've just spent like 20 minutes doing my eyebrows explaining this story. But we made it to the wedding. It was so beautiful, and funny enough, this was the first time that I met Jose's sister. He has 2 sisters. This was the first time that I met both of them, which sounds crazy, like in person that I met them, but the way things have worked out, I did visit Spain 4 years ago before COVID and the 3-year travel ban from Jose, so I never got the opportunity to meet them in person. And when I came 4 years ago, his sister actually went to Boston while I was in Spain. And funny, because she's in Canada right now, so I just had that one day to meet her on her wedding, and then she flew to Canada for her honeymoon. So if I didn't make it to the wedding, I still would not have met her. So luckily I made it to the wedding. I met so much of his family. I'm very introverted, so it was a lot for me, especially with the language barrier. But such a good time. What a memorable experience. And this story made it that much sweeter. Let me tell you, us being there had so much meaning for me and Jose. Nobody knows how stressful this was unless like you've been in this situation, you know, and you understand how immigration works. Like nobody knows how stressful it is unless you are in the immigration process and how particular USIS is. And they're so particular, but they don't communicate that because you can't communicate with them. You're kind of on your own, and if you don't do it the way that they want, it messes you up. And you know, Jose just needed to go home. And I asked him, like, how does it feel to be home? And he was like, it just feels right. Oh, makes me so happy. So yeah, I know this doesn't affect you guys much, but this is a huge trip for us, and I wanted to do this story time so that I could have it for myself to remind myself of how freaking crazy this week was. But let me talk about how you guys are gonna be affected, because I did not have any time to prep for this trip, obviously. It was like, found out on Monday that the green card was coming, and then up until Wednesday, I expected to stay home and have some time. And then until Wednesday night, pretty much, or maybe it was a little earlier than that. But anyways, I had about 1 day to prepare for going away for 2 weeks. So I didn't have much prepared. So that's why I've decided that all of July I am loosening up my posting schedule. Now, obviously you guys don't care. It's summer, everybody's on vacation anyways. You don't care when I take off and stuff, but I just want to let you know, for those of you that are used to me uploading like 5 times a week, that's not happening. I am aiming for every other day in July, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, I've already messed that up because there was the every other day I missed earlier this week, but I'm doing what I can. And the reason why, also, not only do I have this vacation in Spain, when we arrive back to Miami, we have about a week, and then I'm going on a shorter vacation with my parents for like 4 or 5 days, and then a couple days after that, Jose's family is actually coming to the US. Now, this was a trip that was planned thinking that Jose was not going to be able to come to Spain. So since we thought he was going to miss his sister's wedding, his sister and his parents planned to come towards the end of July into August, and we were going to spend time together in the US. But everything was already booked for that, so they're like, we'll come anyways again. So had we known a little bit earlier, because of course USIS literally waited to the last possible second to make this happen for us, had we known, we would have stayed longer in Spain than not have the US trip. But I'm pretty much home for 1 week in July, and I'm gonna make content on the go when I can, but I do deserve to take some time off, that's for sure. You guys know how hard I work. You know how much I love my job, and I enjoy what I do so much, which is why I'm continuing to make content even on vacation, because I love what I do. I love being able to like share the story with you while I get ready for the day. Which, by the way, I am sweating like a mofo, and I am also, my lips are so dry because Spain is not humid like Miami. I'm not drinking enough water. And you know, these Europeans, they don't have AC like me, who I'm such an American. I need my AC. But yeah, that's the crazy story about the craziest week of my life. I really cannot do makeup while telling a story. That was probably all over the place, and I didn't even finish it. But I did want to share that about uploading, how it's going to be definitely off this month because I am gone for like 3+ weeks of this month and as well into August. But this is my sign to enjoy time with family, vacation, and take it slow. But let me finish my makeup. I want to show you the final look because that's all I have for the story now. So funny, I was so distracted doing, like, telling you guys the story. I had the contour just dried down here, never even blended it out. So I was just like going like this to try and blend it out. I do not know how people do like story times and things like that while doing their makeup. I cannot concentrate, but I just went for a simple makeup look. I've been keeping my makeup looks here very light. You know, just no need to do something extravagant. So I'll have everything that I used down below in the description box. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and getting ready. And I will see you guys when I see ya. Peace out.